Fabian Hurzeler, welcome to the official Brighton and Hove Albion podcast, and welcome to the club. As we all know, communication is a very important part of the job these days. You've just been introduced as the new Brighton head coach. How did that go?
So first of all, thanks for the introduction. Everything went well. So I had like a long press conference with a lot of questions, and before I had some face-to-face interviews. So it's part of the job, and it makes a lot of fun. I think it's always important to have a good relationship to the journalists, because in the end they try to do their best job, and we as a coach, we try to do our best job. So I think it has to be like a respectful relationship. That's the most important.
And do you go in there with certain messages in your mind, and do you feel that you're really communicating with the fans, the people who will watch the games next season?
So I always think that it's important that we include the fans, and I had a great experience here during my winter vacations when I was here and visited the Amex, the game between Brighton against Tottenham. And at the beginning I came like just a visitor, and during the game I felt myself like being more a supporter of the team. So it's so important that we as a club and the players on the pitch, that we try to create an atmosphere, that we try to create an energy and positive energy and intensity on the pitch that transform to the crowd, and in the end it's our job to bring this energy on the pitch.
I'm curious to know that you felt close to the team and you felt like a supporter in that Tottenham game. Is it because you identify with a club that's come a long way, that's risen a long way? Because that's what happened with St. Pauli when you were there as well.
So I can identify myself completely with the values of the club and with the DNA from the club. So it's a very analytical and data-based approach, and that's something special. And the past history, the achievements in the past history, they're impressive. And Brighton always wants to play like football with courage, and that's something where I also completely identify with how my team should play. And the second thing is like the city Brighton and the people here. They're very, very open-minded. A lot of different cultures meet together. It's a cosmopolitan city. It's near to the sea, so similar to Hamburg, where I lived before. So I already feel like that could be my second hometown. Yes.
You've done your homework on the city already?
I did, yes, but there are quite a lot of similarities. So, for example, like the seagulls. I also met them in Hamburg because it's near to the sea.
Yeah.
And here I already met them. So, no, there are like quite a lot of similarities, and I really like the atmosphere in the city. It's young, it's dynamic, it's multicultural, and I had the same at Hamburg. And for me, it's so important to feel the city, to feel the atmosphere in the city, because in the end, it's my hometown. It's where I live and where I spend the most time. So I have to feel comfortable, and I think the conditions here are perfect.
You mentioned at St. Pauli that it was you mentioned about analytical and data approach. Yeah. How does that, I suppose, comparing both clubs, how different are they when it comes to those approaches?
So of course, everything here it's bigger. Yeah, it's like, I wouldn't say like more professional, but here like more people, so you can work much more in details. And I think that Tony, the approach with the data-based analysis is something special, and you don't see it so often in the world of football. And I'm a fan of data, because of course you can watch the game in your way, you can see it with your eyes, but in the end, data, they confirm you or they not confirm you. So data won't lie. So that's why I'm a big fan from using them.
Is that from a tactical approach or a recruitment approach?
I think you can use it for both. So of course, when you analyze a game, it has a tactical approach. But if you try to recruit new players, also Tony told me that he find me because of the data. So it's also a recruitment for the coaches. So in the end, it helps a lot. But I think besides the data, it's also important to get to know the person, to get to know the player. What is his vision, what are his thoughts, what are his feelings, so we can't forget this beside the data.
You made your name bringing St. Pauli into the Bundesliga, getting them promoted. I think you lost 8 of 55 matches, an incredible sequence of results. How did you do that?
I think the most important thing is it's not the one-man show. So it's not only me who was responsible for success. It's always a togetherness. And I had a lot of great experts at St. Pauli in my team, and we had a good relationship to each other, and we worked together very well. And it's about that everyone knows his role in the team, and everyone is part of it in an emotional way, not in a way that he's like participating. If we win, that he earns more money. I think money is only for short term, like interesting. But if you're like part of it in an emotional way, then you get an emotional satisfaction, and that's holding for long term. And that's the same feeling I have here. So when I talked with the assistant coaches, with Crofty, with the goalkeeper coach, with Jack, with the analyzers here, with Sam, with Owen, they are experts in their areas, and I want to give them the feeling that they can trust me, that I have a lot of belief in them, and that they really are part of my team. And I think if everyone knows his role in the team, in the club, and everyone feels like valued, and everyone has like an emotional part in this process, then I think you can be successful. And that was like a big part for me in St. Pauli. And on top of that, you need the players. Of course, you need the players. So the players are in the end the main decision makers on the pitch. They have to be convinced of the idea. They have to fit together. They have to support each other, and then you can be successful.
When you mention that you want everyone to feel and be a part of it, that is, I think, one of the most difficult things to do in football. And ultimately what you're saying is to create a positive culture, aren't you? How do you go about that?
Leading by example. So that's the main thing. You have to live it. You have to. Of course, it's easy to paint some phrases on the wall, or some words, some values on the wall. But the main thing is that you are a role model. That you are going forward. That you try to live it. That you try to build it by living it. Because that's the main thing. If the employers, if the staff members really feel it, then you can build this culture. And on top of that, for me, it's also important to have like targets. You know, that you have clear targets, long term, short term, because targets always give you like an orientation where you want to go. And if you have targets, every expert in his area knows what to do, and they are like measurable. Yeah, so you know what they want to achieve, you know what they can achieve, and in the end, there will be the results. And that's why these two main things are very important for me to create and to build this positive culture.
Talk to me about pre-season. You're going to start soon, really soon. I've been through a lot of pre-season, a lot of different managers, a lot of beliefs. Have you got any certain way that you like the players to be prepared for a season?
So I think you have to use the pre-season that you create the base for the whole season. So
I really wanted you to say, yeah, I'm going to run them.
Yeah, no, I think that's main part. I want to say I think the athletic part is so important. So one of my secret was at St. Pauli. They are like the statistic: how much you run in the high speed meters, and how much sprints you do. And if you're in these three parameters, two belongs to you. So if you run more than the opponent and you do more high speed meters than the opponent, the success or the percentage of success is increasing. And these athletic conditions you have to create in the preseason. It doesn't mean that we always go running here beside the pitch. No, it's everything with the ball. But in the end, it has to be like intense. Yes, very, very intense. And everything what we do in the preseason has a consequence in the season, and the player have to know that.
Obviously, you're associated with a particular style of play and a formation. In fact, a 3-4-3. Is that a fixed idea in your mind, or if it doesn't work in this league and with these players, you're adaptable, presumably?
So, I work a lot with principles. because there are so many different situations in the game the players have to deal with, and principles help them to give them orientation when there's less space, when the opponents tag hard, when they don't have a lot of time to think about the solution. So that's why I try to work with principles. And if you watch my game, it's very fluent, so it's not like a fixed formation. Of course, in the media they have to put a formation before, and it's mostly a 3-4-3. But in the end, it's like very fluent. And the most important for me is that the players, they are positioned in the areas where they can be the best version of themselves. And that's, I think, the most important for me as a coach.
I noticed that last year when you got promoted to St. Pauli, you let the least amount of goals in.
Yeah.
Is that something you pride yourself on? How I suppose what the listeners want to hear is how you see your team playing in the Premier League.
So I think that we need to have a plan for both phases. So we need to have a balance between a defense stability and of controlling the game. So we conceded less goals in the last season, but we were also top in ball possession. So I think it's possible both. But in the end, I think that defending the goal, in the end, there's a message you always say: defense wins championship. Yeah, I think there's a truth inside the sentence, and that's why I like to work hard against the ball. I like to defend to score goals, not to defend my own goal, to defend to score goals. And that's its main part of my style of play. And on top of that, I like set pieces. Because I think that set pieces are like match winner and game changer. So it will be also part of my style. So don't think that I put a throw in from the middle line to the opponent's box. That won't happen. But of course, like, we try to spend time in learning and having good set pieces.
When you say set pieces, do you value all set pieces equally? So whether that's a throw in our own half.
Yeah.
Compared to a corner kick?
Yeah. So I think that throw-in is like you have the ball, so you have to try to keep the ball. And when I see a throw-in, it's mostly like that the ball changes. So in the end, the opponents have to throw the ball after our throw-in. So of course, it's part of the training, and it's an important part, because if a game is equal and it might be a draw, then one set piece can change the game. And the Premier League is unbelievable this season. So there's so many good coaches, so many good teams, and I think it will be really, really equal. And in the end, the details make the difference. And that's why we are also focusing on set pieces, yes.
You started thinking about all this stuff at a very young age. You stopped playing at 23. And you obviously started thinking about the game academically, like a coach, very quickly. Why did you stop playing so young, and what was it about coaching that fascinated you?
So it started earlier. When I was a former player, I was always named as the captain of the team, because the coach trusted me, the teammate trusted me, and I wanted to lead the team. I wanted to take responsibility. And then I was 22, 23, and I asked myself, okay, you have to be honest now to yourself. Are you able to be a top player, for example, player of Brighton, or are you only able to play in the third or maybe second division? And I was honest to myself that I think that I only had the talent to play like maybe second or third division, and that was not my target. I want to be top. And beside that, I was thinking, what do you do after your career? So when you finish, get retired with 35, 36, of course, James Milner, 38 now. But what do you do after your career? And I always say that I want to work in this business because football is my passion. And I want to do something with people. I want to work with people together. I want to develop them. I want to see an improvement in their personality. And that's my passion. So I started to be a coach.
Part of the model for this club is to develop young players, to find and develop young players. I mean, and you're being given some pretty exciting young players to work with, and some new ones as well, some expensive new ones. Do you enjoy that? You enjoy helping young players? Because when you were talking in the press conference, you sounded as if that's one of the things you most enjoy, helping players to be the best they can.
That's my main focus, and that was also my main focus at St. Pauli. We didn't have like the financial budget to buy like the most expensive players. We had to buy players from a lower league. We had to buy young players with big potential, and that's why I see my job. Try to improve, try to help them, that they make a good development. It's not only the tactical or the technical things on the pitch. It's also like beside the pitch, that they grow as a person, that they develop as a personality. That's also very, very important for me. And that's like what makes my job for me so interesting and so exciting, that I see the development of young players, of young persons, and in the end the whole team develops. And that's my biggest focus and my biggest passion, to develop the players.
It's a very holistic approach, isn't it? It's not about a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. It's not about a result. It's about everything, isn't it? It's about, like you say, it's about developing the person, not just the player, and seeing them grow as men.
Yeah, it's for me, it's like it's a process, and it's a relationship you have to build to the player. Yeah, it's not like judging them always and giving them like clear things to do on the pitch. It's like giving them the feeling that they are valued and listen to them. I think that's the most important thing we can give the players is time. Yeah, it's not about giving them always the best advices. It's just listen and hear to their wishes, to their habits, to their feelings, and then in the end, having a good relationship helps that they will listen to you and that they will follow you. And that's the main thing from my side, what I try to do. And I will help everyone in my team together with my coaching staff to improve.
So your door's always open?
This sentence, all the coaches say, yeah, my door is always open.
I know that it isn't always open.
And it's not always open,
No.
yeah, exactly. We have to be honest. It's not always open, but it's the same like I said before with my stuff. You have to live it. You can say so many sentences as a coach, but in the end, the players they have to feel it. And if they don't feel it, then you have a problem. And that's why I'm not the person who likes to talk a lot about myself. I like to work. I like to work with the players. I try to outwork a lot of things. And in the end, I'm just seeing my job that I want to help the players, that they are successful. Because in the end, of course, results are the most important in football. And if you achieve something together, it's the best feeling you can have.
And I can bring Glenn in on this question a little bit, because the first time you step in front of the players as a group, all managers say that's really important, isn't it? That you have to create an impression, you have to let them know what you're about, and you have to make them go away feeling enthused. Am I right, Glenn?
Yeah, I think probably now, listen, all the players will have seen the press conference. They'll all have a feeling. They all go on the internet. They look how St. Pauli played last year. They do their homework at this level. As much as I'm sure you've done your homework on the squad, they will do their homework on Fabian. I think it's natural. So I suppose that initial contact isn't as powerful as it probably once was, because they will have a really good idea of who you are and what you're about.
Yeah,
and I already had like some talks with the players, just to get to know them personally, to get to know them where they want to improve. They have a feeling for the team, where they need support, what they want to keep doing, and all these things that they are really important. And in the end, of course, it's also important how you stand in front of the group. But like you said, it's already a little bit done, and now it's about building a relationship, seeing each other, facing each other, having good conversations, having a very good work on the pitch. Yeah, that's the main thing, that we focus on the work on the pitch. We can talk now a lot of things, but in the end, on the pitch is always you see the truth. So that we have to work really, really hard.
in the press conference there was a very large number of questions about your age, understandably, but presumably you're hoping that questions about your age will stop and everybody will get used to it. Right?
I think they won't stop. So in St. Pauli, the questions always come, especially when there were hard moments. It always like, yeah, is he ready to deal with it? Because he has no experience. For me, it's okay. You know, I'm always try to be authentic. I always try to be the best version of myself, and that's why I'm not interested in these discussions. For me, in football, it's not about the age. It's about if you're good or if you're not good. It's the same with the players. You know, if there's a young player who's better than the old player, yeah, the young player will play. And if the old player has a better training performance than the young player, then the old player will play. So it's not about the age, it's about the performance, it's about your character and your attitude to this game and to this job.
I was just going to ask you about, obviously, yeah, we touch on your age and it's going to be a huge talking point, and like you say, it won't go away. I think it's, to a certain extent, it's lazy journalism, because they point, it's like, I've had it as an older player.
Yeah.
When you get over 35, then all of a sudden your legs have gone. Everything that goes wrong on the pitch is because of your age, and I've had that conversation in my mind a lot of times. But the scrutiny of you as a manager is going to go through the roof, from Bundesliga 2 to the Premier League. Are you ready for that side of it?
So, I'm honest. I know that it's a huge challenge. I'm aware of that, but I think that I need a mixture of courage and staying humble, showing humility, and beside that, you need the convincement. So I have like the convincement inside of me. I have the belief inside of me that I, together with my team, that we can challenge it and that we can tackle it, and that's why I'm here. And I always say I will learn a lot for sure, and I won't become a worse manager.
That's true. Everything's a learning curve, isn't it?
Yeah.
You always learn. I think if you don't learn in football, you die, and really quickly.
Yeah.
And that goes for
100%.
That goes for a 50-year-old manager that's been in the game for.
And that's like the same with the style of play. If you don't adapt it over the time, it's finished. So it's always about adapting, seeing new trends, building new relationships. Also the speech in front of the team, it always has to change, because otherwise they always have the same content, and that sounds maybe boring at one time.
A lot of our listeners will know that St. Pauli is a very interesting club. It's culturally different. It's political. It's like a world in itself, and a very passionate support, I would imagine. Tell us what it was like working in that environment with that culture and tradition.
So I think St. Pauli was one of the clubs who brings the politics in the stadium, and they do it really, really consequent. So they have great values where I completely identify with, and they fight for their values, and that's something was very important for me. But beside that, I had the feeling a little bit that we were focusing too much on the things beside the football. And I want to be known with St. Pauli as a club. Of course, they do politics, but we want to be like ambitious, and we want to create achievements. We want to be successful in a sportive way. And that's why I try to put the focus together with the person who is responsible more on the sportive part, and we try to get more the attention from the public, because we are successful on the pitch. And that was my main focus during my work there, but without disrespecting the values, because I really, really identify with them.
Yeah, so you shifted the balance a bit, and I imagine you fed off the passion in the stadium as well, and you are, from what we gather, a passionate guy on the touchline. You sound very calm and composed now, but in the game process itself, when the game is on, you engage emotionally?
Too much. So when I watch myself after the 90 minutes, for example in television, or after a bad whistle from the referee, then I'm thinking myself, what are you doing there? That's not you. So beside the pitch, I'm quite calm. On the pitch, it doesn't matter if it's training or if it's a game. I'm like very emotional because I want to get the best version out of the players. I want that they improve every day. I want that. I'm also like a little bit protecting them, and that's like my character. And I can't be artificial, so that's part of me. I try to, I will be authentic, and of course the emotional side is also like a side of me.
Actually, most of the great managers now tend to be emotional. I mean, Roberto De Zerbi certainly was passionate when he was here. Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, they're not quiet in the coaching zone, are they?
No, not at all. I personally think from a fans and a player's perspective, somebody who never lets themselves go on the touchline is, I like to see that my manager's invested. Whether I'm sitting in the stand, whether I'm sitting on the bench, whether I'm playing on the field, if I can see my manager's invested, then we're in it together.
Yeah. That's also like what I get out from the team, their opinion, so that they need it sometimes, that they feel, okay, we suffer now together and we go through the hell now together, because this will happen during the season, and you are stronger if you do it together instead of being just an individual on the pitch where there are like 22 players. So
just bringing it back to the here and now, what are you looking forward to about the Premier League?
So this adventure offers amount. I think it's the best league in the world. You challenge with the best players in the world, with the best coaches in the world. So it will be for me like a huge experience. It will be for me like very exciting to compete with the best teams and the best managers, to try to outwork them. It will be very, very interesting to see that, and of course I'm looking forward to challenge the establishment in the league.
I like that. Anywhere in particular that you're looking forward to going, to visiting?
So I think most of the time you will find me here at the training.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I mean, so you mean like a special fixture?
Yeah.
I would say, so I know from Tony there might be quite a few fixtures that are very important for him. So I try to win this game.
He mentioned Crystal Palace, did he?
And on top of that, so for me personally, of course, like Pep Guardiola is an amazing coach. I think he's the best coach in the world, and to face him, to play against him, will be something special.
You're walking into a group that was decimated last year with injuries, but I think you're walking into a group that all believe they can play. So you're going to have everyone trying to prove to you in these coming weeks that they deserve, I suppose, a starting 11 place come the first Premier League season.
Yeah, so it's like very important to get to know each other now. So there will be like a lot of talks, a lot of meetings where I present myself, I present my team, where I present also the idea how we want to play. So it will be like a mixture between theory, looking a lot of video sessions, and then going outside and try to transport it to the pitch. And beside that, like I said, a lot of talks, a lot of meetings with each other, just to get to know each other. You know, it's like different. I had some calls with the players, but it's different when you meet them face to face. And then it's like a process. So you start the first training session, everything will be exciting, and then you get like in a routine, and then it's about finding the details where we have to improve, finding the details which players have to improve in which areas, which players get we need to connect each other. Yeah, and it's like about a process. Yeah, you can plan a lot of things as a coach, but I think especially in these moments when you get in your habits, then it's about finding the details and trying to improve them.
Are you a manager with coaching staff that like to do individual bits with players to try and improve them on the little nuances that you can see where they can get better?
Yeah, I think it's a main part doing like individual analysis, individual work with the players, because I'm convinced if the individual player develop, the whole team will improve, and that's a main thing where I focus on.
I should really just cover myself, because a lot of listeners will say, isn't that what a manager's meant to do? But a lot of managers at this level don't do that. They just work on the collective.
Right.
And the individuals, almost, we're in the best or one of the best leagues in the world, and I think they feel, or a lot of managers feel, that this is the ceiling. It doesn't get any better. So it's quite refreshing to you that you're willing to work with the players one-on-one.
I'm willing. Hopefully they recognize it, yeah. But in the end, it's like a mixture between working individually, working in a group, working with the whole team. But that's like how I want to train. I train the whole life like with this philosophy, like building a training culture. It's so important for me that the players, they go on the pitch and they exactly know what to train, how we train, and what attitude is important today.
And finally, Fabian, the fans of a club, as you know, like to know more about who a manager is and what they're interested in and what their life is like. Is there anything you can tell us about your interests away from the game? How do you let get the pressure off you? What are your hobbies? What will you be doing in Hove when you're living there,
So
away from the game?
normally I'm not the person who talks a lot about myself, but I would say that I spend a lot of time with friends beside working. I'm a socializer, so I like to be with people around me, to play games, to watch maybe other football games, and also just to go out in Brighton, enjoy the different cultures, meeting some real Brighton fans. Will be also exciting. It's the same like I did in St. Pauli. So I was always open for them, and it was always like a really respectful relationship to each other. And of course, sometimes you get more compliments, sometimes you get more trouble or more negative commentaries, but that's part of the job, and you have to be open for that. And I will try to continue do this the same way like I do at St. Pauli. And my main hobby is paddle.
Paddle.
So I really like to play paddle.
It's just taken off in the UK.
Yeah, it's taken off in Brighton and Hove, so you'll have plenty of chances to play that. Yeah. And the seafront is very good, but be careful with the sea, okay? Because it's not so clean.
I'm not the best swimmer, so I have to take care.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, and we wish you all the very best for the trip to Japan and for the season to come. Thank you, Fabian Hurzeler. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate the time.